Welcome to part 2 of Mastering Third Dimensional Reality. In part 1, we explored the idea of our key frequency and how everything truly aligned with that frequency is already naturally drawn to you through the experiences, people, opportunities, challenges, the synchronicities necessary to fulfill the themes of exploration you chose before entering physical reality. We explored how manifestation is not about forcefully attracting what you need, but about releasing the resistance, limiting beliefs, fear, and misalignment that prevent those experiences from naturally flowing into your reality. In this video, we're going to explore the mechanics of how space-time reality actually works, why we're here, and why memory and the past don't truly exist in the way we've been conditioned to believe they do. We're going to explore this through the contrast of two perspectives. First, from the higher mind, the eternal aspect of consciousness that exists beyond space and time itself. And then from the denser perspective of the physical mind functioning through the body and the illusion of linear reality. This exploration will take us beyond the limited paradigms we've been conditioned to accept as true and into a far more expansive understanding of existence that begins dissolving the feelings of separation, constriction, limitation, and powerlessness often experienced within third-dimensional space-time. You'll begin to see how this shift in perception directly relates to humanity's current stage of awakening, what that awakening actually looks like, and how you can begin aligning yourself with that expanded state of consciousness right now. We always retain our individuality, yet simultaneously experience ourselves as part of the greater whole of all existence. And there is a common misconception, a fear that many people have, that awakening, transcendence, or the experience of oneness means losing their sense of individuality, their identity. But this is not what occurs. When you enter the transcendent state, the state where you experience yourself as both everything and nothing simultaneously, connected to all of existence itself, what you still experience is that oneness from the unique perspective of you. Your individuality is never lost, never erased, never annihilated. Every experience you have contributes to the expansion of the whole. Every life, every perspective, every identity you have ever chosen to explore continues adding to the evolution of consciousness itself. But the unique perspective that is you is eternal. It is this ever-expanding individuality across every reality, every incarnation, every exploration of existence that continually allows source consciousness to expand, evolve, and know itself from infinite perspectives. Now, before we decide to experience a physical life within this dimension of space and time, we exist in a state where time itself doesn't actually exist. Time only exists within realities constructed to experience consciousness in that way. For example, this one. From this higher state of being, when we desire to experience something, it simply is. We experience it instantly. There is no process of unfolding at all. Absolutely anything you can imagine exists, and that is experienced immediately, because the act of creation itself is fundamentally imaginative in nature. If we want to experience the ecstasy of being in love, we experience it instantly as a felt state. And nothing prevents it from happening. Nothing limits the experience because there's no physical mind filtering reality through fear, limitation, doubt, or beliefs about what is or what isn't possible. If you want to know the experience of swimming through the ocean with a dolphin, it's instantly known, an immediate felt understanding. But there's no process at all involved in the experience. There is no meeting the person of your dreams, no unfolding of connection, no dates, no shared experiences, no gradual falling in love over time and through experience. Likewise, there's no sensation of water rushing against your skin as you hold on to the dolphin's fin, feeling the movement of its body gliding effortlessly through the ocean. There are no physical sensations at all, because there is no physical body and no 5 physical senses through which reality is being interpreted. In our unlimited state, from the perspective of the higher mind, everything exists here. Everything exists now. That is the fundamental nature and structure of reality itself, and that never changes. What changes is your experience of it, your perspective of it, through exploring different dimensional states of consciousness, such as this one, that allow existence to be experienced in entirely different ways. And this third dimensional reality of time and space is extraordinarily unique because it allows consciousness to experience the process of creation rather than the simultaneity of creation. We chose to come here specifically to experience the unfolding. Here, the process is the point. The journey is the destination. The process is the experience we came here to have. This is why we chose physical reality to begin with, to explore ourselves through limitation, sequence, memory, contrast, discovery, and becoming in ways that higher states of consciousness cannot. Put simply, physical reality is the experience of living the story page by page rather than instantaneously knowing the entire book all at once. Now, when we enter the density of time and space reality, because the vibrational state here is far denser than the higher perspective of spirit, of the higher mind, we experience a self-imposed kind of forgetfulness. We must temporarily forget who we are from the higher perspective in order to fully immerse ourselves in the physical experience and explore ourselves from entirely different points of view. Otherwise, physical reality would serve no purpose at all. You would already know the answer to every question. You would already see the outcome before every experience ever began. There would be no becoming, no unfolding, no process, no journey into self-discovery through experience. And this is where memory enters the experience. There is only the now moment. What you experience as process is actually part of the illusion of this dimension, a construct created so that your consciousness, through the physical mind and physical body, can experience events unfolding sequentially rather than instantaneously. Your experience of the process is what's real. In order for the physical mind to have an experience within space and time, reality must appear sequential. One thing must seem to happen after the other, instead of the entire experience being instantly known and felt all at once. For example, when you walk outside your home, the higher mind experiences the entire essence of that experience instantaneously, just as it instantly knows anything else it can imagine. There is no sequence from the higher perspective, no passage of time, just instant knowing. But the physical mind can't experience reality that way while operating through a physical body and 5 physical senses. So what the higher mind experiences as a single instantaneous knowing, the physical mind interprets as a series of billions and billions of sequential moments unfolding, one after another, to create the illusion of continuity, the passage of time. It takes the essence of walking outside and fragments it into what appears to be movement through time. But the process itself does not fundamentally exist. Only your unfolding experience of the process exists. When you finally arrive outside, your physical mind constructs on the fly the memory of having taken the steps required to get there. The memory itself is what creates the experience of continuity. The memory is the process you experience and how the physical mind interprets it. The past of being inside the house doesn't fundamentally exist at all. The past was constructed by the physical mind in order to make sense of the entire experience of walking outside. The entirety of a relationship you've had with another person, the span of an entire career, your childhood, your entire life up to this moment right now is all instantaneously known from the perspective of the higher mind. Instant awareness. And so, the physical mind must construct memory in order to create the illusion of linear experience, of process, to make sense of reality within time and space. So, what is awakening? Awakening is the perspective of the higher mind. Awakening is the realization that physical reality is, fundamentally, a type of dream state, a projection of your consciousness experienced through the illusion of time, space, memory, sequence, and process. And as you begin to truly understand the perspective of the higher mind, you begin to wake up. And that is the true meaning of awakening. As you begin showing your physical mind how to expand into the understanding of how reality actually functions, something monumental starts happening within your consciousness. Your entire perception of reality begins changing, and the illusions that construct this reality begin dissolving. This is the beginning of becoming lucid within the dream. You begin experiencing flashes where both perspectives start existing simultaneously within your awareness. The perspective of the higher mind and the perspective of the physical mind. You begin recognizing that while the physical self is moving through the experience sequentially, another aspect of you already exists beyond the illusion entirely, and you can perceive, and it can perceive the entire picture. This is the beginning of conscious awakening. And this is the beginning of becoming able to consciously alter the themes of exploration you originally chose for this lifetime, shifting them into entirely different trajectories, or even choosing completely new themes to explore, if you like. The more you open yourself up to these concepts, the more you set your intention to wake up to the perspective of the higher self, you set in motion a transformation of consciousness that forever changes your relationship to physical reality. The more the physical mind consciously opens itself to the perspective and the infusion of the higher mind, the more the structures and parameters that once appeared fixed within space and time, reality, begin becoming increasingly malleable. Your reality suddenly begins responding to consciousness in ways that become impossible to ignore. You experience time lapses where you suddenly arrive somewhere with little or no memory of the process of physically getting there. You think of a symbol, a word, a person, and moments later, it physically shows up in your environment. You look into the clouds and watch them begin conforming to the imagery within your mind. You think how wonderful it would be to have several days of rain so that the sprinklers don't need to run and you can save some money. And the rain arrives in perfect timing. even though the forecast showed otherwise. And why not? After all, your reality is just a projection of your consciousness. You ask a question, and the answer fills your mind before the question has even fully formed. This is only the beginning. In the next video, in part 3, we'll go deeper into the illusion of memory itself and how our entire understanding of memory is directly connected to the illusion that knowledge must be remembered and sequentially retrieved from the past. And we'll explore what life starts becoming like when you stop attempting to forcefully retain and memorize information and instead begin actively opening yourself up to living in synchronicity with the higher mind itself. Because the higher mind doesn't need to remember anything the way the physical mind does. It simply knows anything that it needs to, instantly, from its direct communion with source consciousness. And when you begin to open up to that state of the higher mind, you simply know exactly what you need to know, precisely when you need to know it, without effort, without searching, without trying to remember a thing. Because awakening is not about accumulating more information. It's about becoming aligned enough with the higher mind that the knowing is simply there the moment it's needed. And this is the beginning of truly becoming superhuman. All right, your homework before part 3. Begin actively observing things that happen in your life from both perspectives simultaneously. The perspective of the higher mind and the perspective of the physical mind. Practice consciously shifting your awareness back and forth between these two perspectives throughout your day. For each experience you have, consider how both the higher mind and the physical mind relate to memory, process, and time in an entirely different way. Start by asking yourself, how would the higher mind perceive what I just physically experienced? And then infuse your mind with the sensation of the entirety of the experience itself. Not as a sequence of moments, but as a single instantaneous infusion of knowing. Most importantly, have fun with this. Be excited about exploring these concepts and playing with them, because excitement is a tremendously powerful fuel when it comes to self-discovery and exploration. And with that, we'll bring this to a close. Questions or comments are always welcome. I read them all. Check out the pinned comment for any insights that you would like to offer. And if you like the sharing and you'd like to hear more, please hit the like button. It helps me know if you're inspired by my teachings. For more insights and for part 3, tap the notification bell to be notified when new videos are released. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening and for being part of this beautiful community where we discover what becomes possible when we become lucid within the dream, learning how to bridge the gap between the worlds of the higher mind and the physical mind. Superhuman made simple with the architect.